Imagine bagging groceries at a local supermarket in Puerto Rico, answering phone calls from record producers on your break. And less than a decade later, you are headlining the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show entirely in Spanish while your ex-girlfriend sues you for $40 million over a bathroom voice note. This isn't a movie script. This is the reality of Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio, known to the world as Bad Bunny. Before the record-breaking streams, the diamond-certified albums, and the historic Grammy wins, there was just Benito. Born on March 10, 1994, he grew up alongside his two younger brothers, Bernie and Baisel, in the Almirante Sur neighborhood of Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, a town located about 30 miles west of San Juan. His upbringing was humble and grounded. His father worked as a truck driver, and his mother taught English. Music was a constant in the house, with young Benito absorbing everything from salsa and merengue to rock and even the Bee Gees. On the way to school, he would listen to reggaeton legends like Daddy Yankee and Vico C, and up until the age of 13, he sang in the choir of his local Catholic church. Eventually, he traded the choir hymns for making his own beats in his bedroom and freestyling with friends at school. You might wonder how a global superstar ended up with a name like Bad Bunny. As a little boy, his school forced him to dress up in a bunny costume for an Easter activity. He was notoriously furious about the outfit, and a photograph was taken capturing his intensely grumpy, annoyed expression. Years later, when trying to come up with a stage name, he remembered that photo and realized the brilliant marketing potential behind it. He figured that a bunny is such a common image that every time someone saw one, they would be reminded of his music. It was a contradiction between rebellion and vulnerability that perfectly defined his brand. As he grew older, Benito enrolled in the audiovisual communications program at the University of Puerto Rico at Arecibo. To support his studies, he worked as a bagger at an Econo supermarket, but his real focus was on his music, which he began uploading to SoundCloud. In 2016, his track dials caught massive attention online, resulting in record producers literally calling him while he was at work in the grocery store. Soon linked up with manager Noah Assad, and instead of chasing major record labels, they built a grassroots strategy of releasing singles and music videos directly to YouTube. Bad Bunny quickly dominated the local Latin trap scene with hits like Soy Pure. He also proved his hard-hitting energy by collaborating with influential reggaeton hitmaker Archangel on the track To No Vive AC. The major turning point arrived in 2018 when he teamed up with Cardi B and J Balvin for the bilingual smash hit, I Like It. The song skyrocketed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, signaling that mainstream American radio was absolutely thirsty for Spanish-language music. Historically, the music industry demanded that Latin artists eventually sing in English if they wanted true global crossover success. Bad Bunny completely rejected this conformity. He insisted on keeping the Latini community at the forefront, championing his culture entirely in Spanish. He firmly stated that he was pleased to live in a time where he didn't need to change his musical style, his language, or his culture to go far. This unapologetic authenticity became his superpower. By Christmas Eve of 2018, he released his massive debut album X100PRE, which climbed to #1 on Billboard's top Latin albums chart, won a Latin Grammy, and eventually became Diamond certified. He followed this up in 2019 with a collaborative EP alongside J Balvin titled Oasis. Their joint project was considered a massive cultural moment, and though rumors of a beef briefly circulated, the duo ultimately reunited years later in Mexico City to perform emotionally charged tracks like La Canción. In 2020, he released his reggaeton album YHLQMDLG, an acronym which translates to I Do Whatever I Want. During this era, he boldly challenged traditional machismo by dressing in drag for his Yo Perreo Sola music video, delivering a powerful message demanding respect for women. That same year, his album El Último Tour del Mundo made history as the first all-Spanish album to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200, an achievement that earned him what he playfully dubbed his Gringo Grammy. Even surprised fans in 2021 with the track Yanaguni, securing his first solo top 10 hit on the Hot 100 by singing the outro in Japanese. His momentum only accelerated with his 2022 album Un Verano Sin Ti, spending 13 weeks at the top of the Billboard 200, and becoming the first Spanish-language album to ever be nominated for the Grammy for Album of the Year. The album featured heavy hitters like T.I.T. Me Pregunto, filmed in the Bronx and Washington Heights, and El Apagón, which featured a documentary by journalist Bianca Grallo, highlighting Puerto Rico's struggles with gentrification and blackouts. In late 2023, he kept the world guessing with the album Naughty Sabi Lo, QVA a pasar manana. Apple Music built hype by revealing the track list through a massive game of Hangman, eventually unveiling hits like Monaco, Fina, and Unpreview. But Bad Bunny shattered the ultimate glass ceiling in early 2026. His deeply nostalgic album Debutar MS Photos, which was described as a love letter to Puerto Rico blending traditional sounds like plena, bamba, and salsa, won the Grammy for Album of the Year. This historic victory officially made it the first Spanish-language album in history to take the top prize, with Benito dedicating the award to all the people who had to leave their homeland to follow their dreams. To honor this cultural triumph, Bad Bunny launched an unprecedented concert residency in the summer of 2025, titled No Me Quiero Ir de Aquí, translating to I Don't Want to Leave Here. Taking place at the Jose Miguel Agrelot Coliseum in San Juan, the residency featured an astonishing 31 sold-out shows. The economic impact was staggering. The residency generated over $176 million for the local economy, pulled in 2 million airport passengers, increased hotel occupancy by 6%, and even boosted the sales of traditional Puerto Rican Vejigante masks by 340%. The production of the residency was an absolute spectacle. One side of the arena featured a massive stage modeled after a goat, symbolizing the rural Puerto Rican farmer, complete with real grass, live chickens, goats, and a flamboyant tree. The opposite side featured a secondary stage built as a highly detailed, fully functioning replica of a typical rural Puerto Rican concrete house. This structure, nicknamed the Casita, hosted a massive party de Marquesina, where Bad Bunny performed reggaeton hits and hosted VIP celebrities like LeBron James, Ricky Martin, and Pedro Pascal. The concerts featured a rotating cast of surprise guests including Archangel, Young Miko, Residente, and Wisin and Yandel, while a backing band of young musicians called Los Sobrinos elevated the live instrumentation. He even extended the residency to September 20th to commemorate the 8th anniversary of Hurricane Maria, live streaming the final show globally. However, bringing that level of authenticity to the stage came with unexpected chaos. Just days before the final residency show, an 84-year-old widower named Ramon Carrasco filed a lawsuit. Carrasco claimed that a location scout for Bad Bunny tricked him into allowing them to study his actual home, which he built himself in the 1960s. The lawsuit alleged the production team took advantage of his limited education, deceiving the illiterate elderly man into signing a blank cell phone screen, effectively securing the rights to recreate his house for the tour's stage design and promotional short film for mere thousands of dollars. Despite the legal drama, Benito's rise was unstoppable, culminating in an event the media dubbed Golden Week. Just 7 days after his historic 2026 Grammy win, Bad Bunny headlined the Super Bowl 60 halftime show at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. This wasn't just a performance, it was a profound political and cultural statement. He turned the traditional American spectacle into a 30-minute celebration of Latino identity, opening amid sugarcane fields to evoke the colonial memory of the Caribbean's plantation economy. In a year when political figures questioned his Americanness, his refusal to perform in English was a historic act of resistance, proving that his culture no longer needed to be sanitized for American consumption. The emotional core of the Super Bowl show was a recreation of his famous Casita stage on the 50-yard line, where actor Pedro Pascal, Cardi B, and Karol G hung out, symbolizing the chosen family that supported his rise. He brought out Lady Gaga, who sang a stunning salsa version of Die with a Smile, while a real live wedding took place on stage, with Bad Bunny signing as a witness. Using the world's biggest stage for activism, he demanded ICE out. In direct response to immigration crackdowns, he wore a traditional pava hat to reclaim immigrant dignity, and displayed the light blue flag for independence alongside the black and white flag signaling anti-colonial resistance. In the closing moments of the show, he boldly redefined the phrase, "God bless America," by enumerating countries across the entire Latin American continent, replacing a rhetoric of borders with an inclusive Pan-American invitation. Beyond his musical dominance, Benito is a lethal businessman with an estimated net worth of $100 million. His brand partnerships are a masterclass in cultural leverage. He debuted his all-white Adidas Bad Bo 1.0 signature shoe during the Super Bowl halftime show, generating an estimated $1.6 million in media impact value in just minutes. His Calvin Klein campaign generated $8 million in media value in just 48 hours, redefining modern Latino masculinity in mainstream fashion. He collaborated with Gucci, Gucci, and even released a pair of glow-in-the-dark Crocs that originally sold for $60 and now resell for hundreds online. He also secured deals with Cheetos, which included a $500,000 commitment to the Hispanic community, and Corona Beer, famously appearing in a commercial where Snoop Dogg called him through a conch shell. But Bad Bunny doesn't just use his platform for brand deals. He is deeply committed to social activism. Following the devastation of Hurricane Maria, he performed Estamos Bien on The Tonight Show, reminding the world that many Puerto Rican homes still lacked power. He released the song Solo de Mi to address domestic violence, and in 2020, he honored the murder of a trans woman in Puerto Rico by wearing a shirt on television that read, "They killed Alexa, not a man in a skirt." He marched in protest demanding the resignation of Puerto Rico's governor, while penning the protest song, Afilando los Cuchillos, and his Good Bunny Foundation regularly donates millions to youth arts, sports, and Hispanic community funds. If dominating music and fashion wasn't enough, he has successfully infiltrated Hollywood. He had a supporting role in Narcos Mexico, starred alongside Brad Pitt in the action movie Bullet Train, and landed major roles in 2025, playing a waiter-turned-caddy in Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore 2, and starring alongside Austin Butler in the heist film Caught Stealing. He also fully embraced his childhood love for professional wrestling by making an incredible in-ring debut for WWE Backlash, when the event was hosted in Puerto Rico. He even dominated comedy, crashing Jimmy Fallon's monologue, and making viral appearances on Saturday Night Live, including a standout sketch where he played Santiago, the hot brother to Pedro Pascal's character Domingo. Yet despite operating at an incomprehensible level of fame, Bad Bunny is fiercely protective of his personal life. He doesn't believe that becoming famous means surrendering your inner life. He dated jewelry designer Gabriela Berlingeri for years after meeting her at a restaurant in Puerto Rico. It was a grounded relationship. They quarantined together. She sang on his track En Casita, and when they eventually split, there was no dramatic public fallout. She even publicly congratulated him on his 2026 Grammy win. His philosophy of privacy became incredibly apparent during his highly publicized relationship with American supermodel Kendall Jenner. When they were first spotted together in 2023, the internet lost its collective mind over the crossover of a Puerto Rican superstar and a member of the most photographed family on earth. They attended Lakers games, Coachella, and publicly made out during a Drake concert. But the contrast was striking. Kendall comes from a family whose entire empire is built on narrative control through total exposure, while Bad Bunny's brand is built on privacy through absolute refusal. He never confirmed the relationship publicly, casually sidestepping questions in interviews, and hinting that communicating in English with her was sometimes a barrier. They reportedly split in late 2023, briefly reconciled, and ended things again in 2024, without any dramatic public fallout, tell-all interviews, or performative heartbreak. He famously stated that he has no commitment to clarify anything to anyone. However, keeping things private doesn't mean avoiding chaos, especially when your past collides with your multi-million-dollar present. Before the arenas and the Grammys, Bad Bunny dated Carlos de la Cruz Hernandez. They started dating in 2011 as university sweethearts, and were even reportedly engaged in 2016. But years after they split, Carlos filed a massive $40 million lawsuit against him. The center of the dispute? A simple voice recording she made in a bathroom saying "Bad Bunny baby." She alleged that he used this iconic audio tag and hit songs without her permission. It was a stark reminder that when someone reaches this level of global fame, romantic history doesn't just stay in the past. It becomes intellectual property and part of a commercial empire. Bunny's journey from bagging groceries to becoming a cultural titan who defies the English-language music machine is a testament to the power of pure, unapologetic authenticity. He gives the world his music, his spectacular performances, and his fashion, but he fiercely keeps his soul for himself. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the king of Latin trap. If you want to see which global icon we dissect next, hit that subscribe button. If you don't, just remember, Bad Bunny has already built an exact, multi-million-dollar replica of your childhood home on his stadium stage. He'll invite Pedro Pascal to sit on your couch, legally copyright your most embarrassing bathroom voice note, and drop a Grammy-winning diss track about your search history. Stay Perrendo.